Well, there she is, Kari Lake, the acting CEO of the U.S. Agency for Global Media. I knew something awesome was coming up. Sorry about that, Kari. Check this out. The U.S. AGM to pull funding for Radio Free Europe's Hungarian service, pulling the funding. The timing is great. Viktor Orban, basically a close ally and friend of President Trump's, was at the White House today. What is this all about? Kari Lake, welcome. Great to see you. How are things overall? How are you liking D.C.?
Well, it's a lot safer now. I will say at least we can walk the streets without worrying about being mugged, and I thank President Trump for that. And I'm happy to be here working in the administration, helping President Trump push his America First agenda forward to help make life better for all of us. And it's really amazing what we saw today. We saw our greatest ally, frankly, I think maybe our greatest ally in Europe, get a wonderful welcome at the White House. And we saw two strong leaders at the White House today negotiating and working together. And I thought it was a historic day.
Yes, it was. I love that they're so tight. By the way, let's put this up, C01. This programming, this part of your letter to Representative Diaz-Balart, this programming has undermined President Trump's foreign policy by opposing the duly elected Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. As you know, the Prime Minister was and is the leader of Hungary, which is both a strong U.S. ally and a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. What were they doing? How bad were they, our voice in Hungary?
Very bad. We're working to disrupt and trying to cause, chaos in our ally, in an ally like Hungary's country, where they're working really hard to protect their people. As you know, Viktor Orban nearly stood alone trying to protect Hungary and prevent what happened in many other parts of Europe from a migration and illegal immigration crisis, where all of a sudden you look around and you don't even recognize your country anymore. You're flooded with illegal aliens. And he did this with a lot of pushback, intense pushback, major fines from the European Union. And Radio Free Europe has been pushing the globalist agenda. Now, I must remind your audience, Greg, that the American people, the hardworking people from coast to coast, from the heartland who are paying their taxes, are paying every single cent of the funding for Radio Free Europe. It's not free at all. It's costing us a fortune. And they're pushing the EU agenda and a globalist agenda across Europe, including in Hungary, where they're trying to undermine one of our great allies. And they're doing this across the rest of Europe, trying to undermine other allies that are pushing for sovereignty for their nations. And in my role as acting CEO, I have the right and the ability to take a look at what they're doing and say, do we want to continue to fund that? And we do not want to continue to fund any sort of media that is working to undercut and try to hurt our allies. So that's why we put that notification out to not only Congressman Diaz-Balart, but others on the Appropriation Committee and on the Foreign Affairs Committee as well.
So, okay, you got this all under control. So does President Trump. Nancy Pelosi is leaving Congress, and she is, I quite frankly didn't know she was still there. I thought when she left the speakership she left, but let's make it official here. I hate these jobs where you can announce your retirement more than a year ahead of time. You know what I mean? Most people get 2 weeks. That's it.
It's kind of like Cher when she announced she was retiring in her farewell tour, but it kept going and going and going.
Let's see here. Let me ask you a question. I kind of think, I keep hearing, oh, she was a great speaker. Democrats are saying she was the greatest speaker. My understanding is this. She's filthy rich, and she used money as the weapon. I mean, we've all seen Nancy talk. She doesn't seem to be kind of particularly with it. I can't imagine her being a great strategist. I could imagine her being very stingy with the money or very generous with the money with her friends.
Well, I guess the one thing I might miss are the seemingly drunken press conferences she would do, where you would just look at her and go, what is she saying? She was full of lowlights, from ripping up the speech, the incredible unifying speech President Trump did at the State of the Union, to remember that hideous shot of her in her kitchen with her $30,000 refrigerator and $50 a pint ice cream behind her while everybody else was locked up and could barely afford or get their hands on toilet paper during COVID. To the point of her husband, having really strange interactions with homeless who knows what was going on in that apartment of theirs in San Francisco. But I think her effectiveness came not from her being a great leader, but from the fact that the people she was leading, the far left, were all compromised, and she had control over them to vote the way that she wanted to. And the one thing I will give credit to the Democrats for is they do stick together. I wish we had that same issue going on right now with Republicans, where we seem to be like, it's like herding cats. We have the greatest president, the most consequential president. We're trying to get everybody behind him to make some moves, and it's like herding deranged cats sometimes in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, deranged cats. Cats are bad enough. Deranged cats. Actually,
rabid cats.
Yikes. I once met a cat that I liked. Sometimes they're very interesting. Kari Lake, you are amazing, CEO of the U.S. Agency for Global Media and Future. I've got my ideas.
Patriotic American.
All right, patriotic American who can serve her government in any capacity. Thank you very, very much. To be continued, and we'll be right back.